This is a brand new iPhone 17 Pro. Well, not quite. It's actually an iPhone XR from 2018. For some, it's all about the looks. But after repairing thousands of phones over the past 8 years, I really care about what's inside. So today, I'm testing this £60 kit to see if upgrading a 7-year-old phone is genius or just a waste of time and money. Does it really work? Let's find out. This budget iPhone XR has already been refurbished by Apple once before, but today we're upgrading it to be a high-end 17 Pro, at least on the outside. First we power off the device and then we remove the 2 pentalobe screws at the bottom of the phone. Fun fact, pentalobe screws were first introduced back in 2009 in the 15-inch MacBook Pro for battery access and then in the iPhone 4 in 2010. This was one of Apple's first attempts to deter third-party repairers from working on their devices. After the phone has been on the heat plate at 75 degrees C for a few minutes, we can use a thin metal tool to create an opening just big enough for a guitar pick. Then we can slowly slide the pick around to open the screen. The top of the screen has 2 small latches that make a little popping noise as they're released. The screen is off, and this is the first time anyone's looked inside the phone since Apple had their hands on it. Time to remove the 3 screws that hold down the shield that protect the battery and other connectors. With the first shield out of the way, we can disconnect the battery and remove the next set of screws guarding the second shield over the proximity flex. Now to remove the last 2 screws holding down the shield over the display connectors. Once they're out, we pop the connectors free and lift the screen fully from the housing. The new housing from China's arrived in this air-filled package, so let's cut it open and see what's inside. It comes safely packed in bubble wrap covered in stickers that say, "Do not take photos." I wonder if this video is okay though. With the packaging out of the way, we can finally see what we've received. The waterproof frame seal, a battery sticker, and a clear case that looks and feels like it's come from a Christmas cracker. But it's free, so we'll take it. The housing doesn't have any internal parts, but it does have more stickers that will need to be removed. We'll start by the ones protecting the camera lens. Then we peel off the no photo warning sticker, and finally the black one hiding the Apple logo. The suppliers cover this logo just in case Apple's lawyers appear from the shadows and start suing everyone in the factory. After removing the glue residue with alcohol, we can get a better look at the housing. It looks decent, but would you think this is real at first glance? Leave a comment below. I want to know what you guys think. The flashlight on the 17 Pro sits on the opposite side to the XR, so they've included this new flashlight, power and volume buttons to keep the flashlight fully working. Also included with the housing are a new SIM tray and replacement orange buttons. The kit also includes free screwdrivers. It's a nice gesture, but these are poor quality and you will strip screws if you use them too long. If you're looking for a reliable set, I've got much higher quality ones linked in the description below. Next, we remove the logic board, basically the brain of the phone. It's held in with 4 screws and a few connectors. Once they've all been removed and disconnected, we can finally lift out the logic board. Now we protect these exposed cameras with these little stickers. Dust and fingerprints love these lenses, and XR front cameras are not simple to replace. We remove the SIM tray. Now we'll remove 7 screws holding down the Wi-Fi and GPS antenna. This screw's been a little stubborn, and if you look closely, you can see water's been here before, just enough to start rusting things up for us. I'm using some small snips on one side and unscrewing from the other to break apart these 2 screws. Yes, that's rust. I really hope this doesn't come back to haunt us. You can also see the corrosion on the connector here. I must admit, I didn't fully check the phone before opening it, which feels like a bad decision now. This soft foam is hiding 2 more screws underneath, holding the Taptic engine down. The Taptic engine is what makes the foam vibrate. Here we're removing the rear speaker without damaging the sticky foam, so that it can perfectly go back into the new housing with no problems. If it's your first time doing a full housing swap or charging port repair, you can easily miss these two screws hiding in the bottom. Using the isopropyl alcohol again lets us soften the adhesive to release the rear microphone. Because we didn't damage the sticker, we can transfer it to the new housing. Usually I remove the battery with isopropyl alcohol and heat. This slower spinning method keeps the battery in better condition and also sounds better. Now that the battery is removed, we can use alcohol and a spudger to remove the charging port. If you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing. The goal was to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. That might be ambitious, but we'll find out. I'm actually surprised that the phone isn't drunk at this point, but again I'm using more alcohol to remove the rear antenna grounding flex. I think the silver thing is called an antenna grounding clip, and it helps with signals such as cellular and Wi-Fi, but I'm not 100%. What I do know is we need to transfer them. This black sticker is the charging coil. If we don't transfer this, you can say goodbye to wireless charging for good. Once it's removed, you can see the shiny copper spiraled wire underneath. To make things easier, I'm going to transfer the bottom half of the phone into the new housing. If we don't do this now, it becomes harder to keep track of all of the screws and small parts that we've already removed. I don't really like using this E8000 glue for anything important, but it is good for small things like this charging coil. Again, I believe this is a grounding pin for the charging coil. If you do know 100% what it is, leave a comment below. This is the glue adhesive sticker that we mentioned earlier. Because it's still in good condition, we can transfer it to the new housing. We now have to transfer these plastic stoppers that hold the bottom speaker mesh in place, and these also need to be transferred from this old housing into the new one. Now that the mesh has been removed from the old housing, we carefully place it into this new one. This part can be quite tricky and definitely needs a bit of patience. First we place the rear antenna grounding flex back in, and then the charging port. Once the charging port's secured in place, we can place back this bracket that I believe guides sound around to the rear mic and helps with sealing and vibration. And then we install the vibration motor back into place. And after that, the speaker fits snugly into the new housing. We don't want to forget about this little foam pad that hides the two screws beneath. This connector was corroded, but I think we can fix it with more alcohol and a toothbrush. I did check this under the microscope just after this, and it looked okay, so we should be good. This little plastic part allows the SIM tray to eject. Miss it, and future you will be taking the phone apart again. Now we'll remove this grounding contact, the screws holding the volume flex, and then this sticker that covers the screws that secures the mute toggle in place. Next comes the True Depth camera. This is what makes Face ID work, and it's paired to the logic board, so this is one part you really don't want to break. Compared to a real iPhone 17 Pro camera, this thing's tiny. I don't think anyone's going to be fooled by the photo quality on this phone. This is the Wi-Fi antenna, and as far as I can tell, it relies on grounding through the housing. So hopefully the 17 Pro clone housing supports this too. I believe these two gold pads ground the Face ID assembly to the housing, which helps to reduce interference. The mute toggle, volume, and the power button flex cable are secured down with adhesive. Using alcohol again helps us free this up. These curved metal pieces act as button springs. They give the button its click and help to return after being pressed. These are not needed in the 17 Pro housing though. This same flex cable also includes the flashlight and the rear microphone. We won't be transferring this one because the 17 Pro housing comes with its own special modified one. These little metal pieces are important. They hold the buttons in place and stop them falling out of the housing and onto the floor. You can see here a little bit more clearly how they're put back into the new housing. This is the new Flex with the volume, power, mute, flashlight and microphone attached. It needs to be folded in the correct shape so it fits into the housing. This mute toggle is really hard to align. If you're doing this yourself, don't worry, it's normal. The hardest part about a repair like this is keeping track of all the screws. Different sizes, different places, and plenty of ways to get it wrong. This new Flex doesn't quite fit, so it's getting taped down. Apple would never allow this in their official products. Well, MacBook FlexGate aside, that is. The rear flash also doesn't have a shield to hold it in place correctly, so I've decided to tape this down too. Now that all the hard parts have all been done, all that's left to do is to put everything back together. So I've been thinking about something. Would you guys be interested in versions of these repairs with no talking at all? It would be the same repair, separate channel, but pure ASMR. Let me know in the comments if that's something that you'd actually watch. Now that the Face ID is in place, the last couple of things that we need to do is to put the logic board in, and then later on put the camera in. Apart from the battery, all of the main components are now in the phone. So all that's left to do now is to connect all of the flex cables to the logic board and then put all the screws back into place. After that's complete, we can look at the screen and the battery. some adhesive residue remains on the charging coil, so we remove it using alcohol and light pressure. The alcohol makes another appearance here and helps to remove the ink stamp. The housing swap is finally complete. The only issue is that the XR screen is round and the 17 Pro is flat. There is a fix for that, but it's not free. Let's open the parcel up and see what we've got. It's nice that they've included a second water-resistant seal tape here. The housing already came with one, but you never know when we'll need to open this up again. They've also given us a free screen protector. In order for Face ID to work correctly, we need to transfer the front speaker and proximity flex from the old screen to the new one. Again, this one is showing a small sign of moisture that's gotten into the phone in the past. Many shops don't bother with this little bracket on the XR and 11 series. I believe Apple put it there for a reason, so we're transferring it. Fake 17 Pro or not, it's getting done properly. Weirdly, the new screen doesn't come with this plastic alignment bracket, so we're going to have to transfer this ourselves. This tool is the JCID 1VSE Wi-Fi, and we're going to use this to copy the data from the old screen and put it onto the new one. This way the phone won't notice that it's been replaced, and it will allow us to keep TrueTone and auto brightness. Reading the data from the old screen is simple enough. Just connect the touch flex cable, press read, and that's it. Once that's backed up, we attach the new screen and press write, and we're done. If there's any dirt or dust here, especially where the camera is, it'll be visible when the phone's closed. I'm using air and a Q-tip here to give that a little spring clean. And then we can put in the little plastic Face ID alignment bracket. I added a couple of dabs of E8000 again here to make sure it doesn't move around. Then we place the proximity and front speaker flex back into position. We make sure this little metal piece goes in too. And then everything gets screwed back down into place. We can now peel off the blue protective film from the back of the screen, and that's the display ready. Next, we move on to the battery. The iPhone XR was one of the first to show the unable to verify genuine battery warning when an aftermarket battery was installed. This was a real kick in the teeth for third-party repairers, and it made customers believe that the battery was somehow less safe than Apple's. Repairers had to quickly adapt, and we came up with a new solution. The cell-only swap was born, and that's what we're doing today. To do this repair, we first need to remove the BMS, or the battery management system, from the old cell, and then we need to spot weld it to the new one. I do already have a video covering this in more detail, so I'll link it in the description if you want to learn more. It is an older video and a little bit less polished than this one, so if you'd like a proper deep dive into the different battery swap methods, let me know and I'll make an updated one. We need to remove the excess nickel and aluminium from the battery here, and to do that I'm using a grinding pen. I find it easiest to do this under a microscope, otherwise it's easy to go too far. This is a high quality cell by XCAP. These little battery holders make the job so much easier by making sure the BMS and the cell are in the perfect position for spot welding. The spot welder I'm using here is the Quanli Macron Max. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I've tried many in the past, but this one's still my favourite. Once spot welding is complete, we can simply fold down these tabs again, and it's time to reassemble the battery. This is the new battery adhesive sticker that they kindly sent us with the new housing. I forgot to press record here, but this is where I connect the battery to the JCID tool and reset the battery health back to 100%. Apple later blocked this on newer models, so the process changes slightly, which I cover in another video. After fitting the battery, I add 3M primer to the housing and the screen. This helps the adhesive stick. It's also quite expensive, and this tub costs around about £35. Next, we need to add this new adhesive. It's quite easy to do, but the alignment needs to be perfect in order to get a great result. Now all that's left to do is to reconnect the front microphone, the display, the battery, and add the shields and screws all back into place. These camera protectors can be removed now, and as you can see, they're all dust and smudge free. These are the screen security stickers that we have to remove next, and then we can close up the phone, hopefully for the last time. Before we forget, let's reinsert the pentalobe screws back into place, and then we can admire our hard work. The SIM card goes in last, and that's it! A full transformation from an iPhone XR into a 17 Pro. Do you think it was worth it? And if this sat next to a real 17 Pro, do you think you'd spot the difference? If there's enough interest, I'll go out and buy a real 17 Pro and do a proper side-by-side comparison. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.